Hello, my name is Zak Van Straaten. I taught logic at Rhodes University, the University of Northern Illinois, Wits University, and University of Cape Town. I have a special interest in critical thinking, and today I'm going to tell you about critical thinking. I'm going to give you an understanding of critical thinking, its benefits, what the backstory is, and give you some examples of critical thinking in action. One of the benefits of critical thinking is it enables you to distinguish between fake news, false claims, false stories, many of which one finds on YouTube or on the internet. Another benefit is it enables you to do rigorous problem solving because its methods are almost the same as the methods of problem solving. And three, it enables you to make good decisions because your decisions will be based upon a rational understanding of what the situation is. And four, it will of course improve communication skills. So those are the four benefits of critical thinking. Here is a flow chart of critical thinking, which goes through the various steps of critical thinking. Let's just start off with the idea that any bit of text or any claim or any paragraph or any book or any speech we're going to call the narrative. The narrative is just a generic name for anything which makes a knowledge claim. So in critical thinking, you start off by asking, what is the best interpretation of the narrative? And then when you get the best interpretation of the narrative, you can then ask a variety of questions about that in the process. The first question is, what are the assumptions which support the narrative? Because any narrative will be supported by a variety of assumptions. And the question is, do those assumptions really support the narrative, and have the assumptions been tested? The next step is to ask, what are the facts which the narrative is claiming? Do the facts support the narrative, and have those facts been established? The next question is to ask about the consistency of the narrative. Do all the parts of the narrative support each other from a logical point of view? Are the logical inferences valid? Does one part of the narrative deny another part of the narrative or contradict another part of the narrative? And then a very important part of critical thinking is to say, is there an alternative narrative, and is the alternative narrative preferable, and how do we know it's preferable? So those are the steps which you can see in this flowchart, which you can ask of any narrative. It enables you to establish whether or not the narrative is supported by its assumptions and facts, and whether it's consistent or not. The backstory of critical thinking is as follows. A good narrative is supported by its attendant assumptions. A good narrative is supported by the facts. A good narrative is consistent. And a good narrative is usually preferable to other narratives. Take an example. At sea level, water boils at 100 degrees centigrade. All the assumptions around that about your ability to measure temperature, your ability to check what is sea level, your ability to take a volume of water and do things with it, those are all the assumptions that are at work here. And the facts are that in many cases, in innumerable cases, the boiling point of water at sea level turns out to be 100 degrees centigrade. In actual fact, it's 99.7. It's not actually 100 degrees. And on top of Mount Everest, the boiling point of water is only 71 degrees centigrade. A bad narrative is a narrative which is not supported by its attendant assumptions. It's not supported by the facts. It's usually inconsistent, and it's never preferable to alternative narratives. Give you an example. If someone said that the surface of the moon is covered with white cheese, then the assumptions are that there's enough cows on the moon and enough people to milk them and enough people to make cheese, enough people to spread the cheese on the surface of the moon. All of these assumptions turn out to be false, and they're not tested, when tested, they turn out to be false. And the facts of the matter are that when people go to the moon, they don't find cheese on the moon. So that's an example of a bad narrative, not supported by its assumptions and not supported by the facts. So the point of critical thinking is to sort good narratives from bad narratives, because the good narratives are the ones that work and are consistent and are established, and the bad narratives are the ones that don't hold up. So that's the point, that's the backstory of this kind of critical thinking.